really long lashes.
Why would you do that?
Hello.
Oh, hello.
I forget how we look at the comments. Go to our own page.
Yeah, or I think you can just click on it from there.
Okay.
I think, and then it'll bring it up, and we can.
We're still not good at this, obviously.
We're gonna get there someday.
Right. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Yes, because here's where we see, I think,
Okay, I think we're good. Hopefully, we're actually public right now, unlike last time.
We thought that we were live last time, and we were not.
Yeah.
So
anyway, we're also lagging again, which is annoying.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Mindy.
Hi, Mindy. All right, and
Hi, Kate.
Hi, Kate. So let's just hop into it this time instead of like
waiting,
sitting around with our thumbs up our asses.
It's uncomfortable.
If you guys want to know what we're drinking, I have the Romantic Chemistry IPA from Dogfish Head,
and I just have some Guinness because it's my old faithful. It's a good old standard.
Yeah.
So we're going to be discussing the books we read for the Read Harder Challenge to.
Here comes some doggies.
Here comes some doggies.
Some doggos.
To read a book, a mystery by a person of color or LGBTQ+ author is what we read for this book club.
Yeah, and I ended up reading a book by a person of color. I read Wife of the Gods by Quay Corte. I looked up how to pronounce his name, so that is correct.
Nice.
According to the author himself.
Nice.
And this is an Inspector Darko Dawson mystery. So there are, I'm not sure how many others have been published. This is the first book in that series. And it's, like typical mysteries where you can read them out of order, I think.
Okay.
But, this is like the introduction to the character. So I thought I'd start there. And it's set in Ghana, Africa, which is really interesting. And I actually really enjoyed it, which I'm very iffy on mysteries.
Me too.
So I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but I really liked it.
Yeah, this challenge, I was kind of like, really? A mystery? Like,
yeah.
I don't really like mysteries, but...
Yeah. I usually don't like mysteries much either. Do you want to go ahead and say what you read, and then we can talk about them in more depth, and you guys can tell us what you read?
Yeah, let us know what you guys read for this. I read Long Black Veil by Jennifer Finney Boylan. She is herself a trans woman, and there's a trans woman in this book as well. So this is about some friends who went to college together in the 80s, and it kind of goes back and forth between the 80s and present day. It kind of reminded me of kind of like a fucked up St. Elmo's Fire.
I've never seen St. Elmo's Fire.
I liked it a lot. It's one of my favorite 80s movies. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it, surprisingly, because again, I'm super iffy on mysteries, but I liked it quite a lot.
Yeah. So this one of my favorite things about it actually was that it was set in Africa, or in Ghana specifically, and talked about the culture there a lot, which I think was like kind of the point of the challenge, was to like
experience other cultures or other
so I think this book was a really good one for that challenge.
That's
so
pretty cool.
If you're maybe someone who hasn't done that challenge yet, I would recommend this one. But it's I guess I should give a synopsis. Basically, this is about a detective. He lives in Accra, which is the capital city of Ghana, and so it's more of it's a city. It's not like, I think that most Westerners, when we think of Africa, think of like
remote village areas.
So I thought that was cool that we got a glimpse into like a big city in Africa. But the book is actually mostly set in a small village. Called Kitanu, I think was what it was called. That could be wrong. But so the detective gets transferred there to handle this murder case. This young woman has been found strangled just out in the forest. And so he has to go try to solve this murder. And also he has a personal connection to this area because his aunt lives there and he visited there as a child. His mother disappeared when she went to visit and then disappeared on her way back, and they never saw her again.
Nice.
Yeah, and this talks a lot about like witchcraft, which is a real part of the culture and religion in a lot of places. So that really like hindered him along the way a lot of the time, because people are like, well, it's because she upset a witch, and that's why she's dead. You know, like
don't upset witches then.
And things like that. And also like AIDS. This girl that died had a lot. She volunteered with like a place that was doing AIDS research and was trying to educate people on AIDS and how to prevent it. And a lot of people thought that you could get AIDS through witchcraft.
Right.
So, so yeah, that was a real hindrance to him, and he didn't really believe in all that stuff.
Right.
So,
okay.
And then it also talks about like where the title comes from. Wife of the Gods is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing these things correctly, so I apologize, but Trocosi, which is, it says here in the beginning, it kind of explains it. It says this is a controversial custom found in isolated areas of Ghana's Volta region, which is where this is set, and in neighboring Togo, with strongly opposed views on either side of the issue. Even the English translation of the word is debated. Wife of the gods, slave of the gods, child of divinity, etc. But basically, this is where there's these priests, and if a lot of bad things been happening to them, and they think maybe they're cursed, they will basically give one of their daughters to this priest, and she will become like one of his wives, basically. So, yeah. And she's stuck there. So it is kind of like slavery. Yeah, but like I said, I thought this was really interesting because of how much you get of the culture.
The culture, yeah. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and the mystery was pretty good too. I will say that it kept me guessing. I kind of figured it out before it was revealed, but that doesn't bother me, and I don't feel like you weren't supposed to figure it out. Like it wasn't like a huge, it was kind of a twist, but not like a big, huge surprise.
Right.
Like I think you would definitely have suspected this person at some point. But yeah, I liked it.
Nice.
So there we go. And Mindy says she read Charcoal Joe by Walter Mosley. Oh, I had considered reading a Walter Mosley book, but ended up going with this one. And she's halfway through it, and it's really good. Hi, Steve. Snorlord.
Hi, Steve. And Kate says your book sounds rad.
It was pretty rad.
Nice.
I was into it. I think I gave it 4 stars.
Very cool.
So there we go.
There we go. So this book was, like I said, it's by a trans woman, and it has a trans woman as one of the main characters. So this book kind of starts out in 1980, where these people who were friends in college, they'd recently graduated, and they decided to go visit this abandoned penitentiary in like the New England area. And so they go there, they get locked in to the penitentiary, and one of them gets murdered. And then it kind of flashes back to present day, and they finally find the body. They hadn't, at the time of the murder, the person just went missing, the one who got killed. And so they didn't know if she like ran away, if she had gotten murdered. They kind of thought she probably got murdered, but there was no proof. Well, then they find the body in like 2015. And so it kind of brings all the friends back together, and it kind of brings things to a head. And what I think is really cool about this book is that one of the friends is trans. And in the beginning, like in the 80s, it's a male. And he is really struggling with the fact that he's trans, but he doesn't know how to even verbalize the fact that he is. So he doesn't know how to.
80s, like.
Right, that's not really like super common in the 80s. Like people didn't come out and say
it
that.
Wasn't talked about, at least.
Right, yeah. That's not that it wasn't
common, but
right. Not that it wasn't common, but it wasn't as well understood, I guess as it is now. Even now it's not super well understood. But so he wasn't even sure. Like none of his friends knew even, and so he wasn't sure how to tell them and what to do. So then when it flashes back to present day, he has actually been able to transition. And so she is now living as a woman, and she's actually probably the only of the friends to really have a life after the events at the penitentiary happened, and like to do what she wants with her life. And so it was really interesting because it talks a lot about her decision to transition, and it talks a lot about how she felt, you know, when she was living in a man's body and when she was trying to figure out what to do and how to tell her friends, and should she tell her friends, and, you know, should she find a way just to be okay with being a man, is one of the things that she kind of mentions at one point, is like, I wish I could just either make this desire go away, like make this feeling that I am a woman go away, or I wish I could just be okay with being a man.
Yeah.
One of the two. So that was it was really interesting, and it was nice that it focused so prominently in the book. She ends up kind of having to, when she does transition to living as a woman, she has to fake her death. And so most of her friends believe her to be dead. And then when they find the body of the friend who was murdered, she has to make a choice to come back into their lives or not, because she has some information that could clear the name of one of their friends.
Okay.
And so she's like, well, do I give up my life that I have
Right.
to clear his name, or do I just
that's interesting.
stay quiet? So it was super interesting, and the mystery was pretty good. I thought it was someone that it didn't end up being.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, well, surely it's this person. No, it wasn't. So I was wrong. But no, I really enjoyed this. And like I said, I feel like it was a really fucked up St. Elmo's Fire, which I'm all for.
Yeah. So it sounds like we both picked really good,
really good
choices.
Yeah.
For this. And books that I think were good for that challenge too, because it was so much about, you know, for me it was about the culture, and for you it was about, you know, trans
culture, the trans experience. Yeah.
Mindy says, I read a book that bless you, excuse me. I read a book that took place in Africa as well, the #1 Ladies Detective Agency. It had a woman of color as the main character and dealt with witchcraft some as well. The author lived in Africa for some of his life, but was not a person of color, so I read Walter Mosley as well. Awesome.
Very cool.
So did you like that book as well, the #1 Ladies Detective Agency? This author, Quartey, he was raised in Ghana by an African American mother, and a I don't know how to pronounce Ghanaian father. His father was from Ghana. So,
his dad was from Ghana.
So he did grow up in Ghana as well. And he's a doctor who practices medicine in Southern California.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, I was trying to think what else. I will say something, like, I do feel like this book had a little bit of like the like mystery cliches.
Okay.
A bit, because like the main character, Darko Dawson, is like he's a cop and he's a good guy, but he has like a temper. So sometimes he'll go off and like get really violent, and it's always like the person always deserves it, but he goes a little too far.
Okay. So he's like the
hothead, you know. Yeah. So I felt like that was a little bit cliche. And then at the end, like it had the whole like monologue of the killer being like, "Here's exactly what I did.
Let me tell you my plan." This kind of had that too.
But I kind of understand why books do that, though, because it's like people want that closure,
that reveal. Like, why did they do it?
Right.
Why? Yeah.
And I did like, though, because my #1 pet peeve with mystery novels and like crime novels is when the killer just ends up being a psychopath, and that's a cop. That's it.
Right.
I feel like that's such a cop-out.
Yeah, it's a cop-out.
And this was not like that. Like, I mean, I feel like you have to be like a little bit of a psychopath just to be a murderer.
To take a human life, right?
But like they had a motive.
Right, they had a reason for doing it. And that's kind of like how this book was. Like
it wasn't a great motive, but
it was a motive. Yeah, this one, the killer had a motive. Murphy, buddy, come on, go on. Thank you.
And Mindy said that she thought the #1 ladies detective agency was great. It covered culture and issues in that part of Africa, and she gave it 4 stars. So
awesome.
There's another recommendation for everyone. I mean, it's not. It doesn't fit this challenge because she said it's not by a person of color, but
but
it'd still probably be an interesting read.
Yeah.
Kate read Parable of the Sower and absolutely loved it, but it took her so long to read. Kept getting freaked out because it was eerily plausible.
I get that.
I haven't read that yet. I need to. It's on my TBR.
Yeah, Parable of the Sower. Hi, Taro. Parable of the Sower freaked me out too. I kept having to like.
Yeah, from what you said, it seems like it could very much be plausible.
I think Octavia Butler's a prophet, or was a prophet.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not dead like Elvis. Maybe she's.
Ooh, I hope so.
That's what I'm hoping.
Maybe she's publishing under a pseudonym. I hope.
We
can only hope.
Queen Octavia. But yeah, I agree with you. It really freaked me out too. So is there anything else that we want to say? Like,
do you guys have any questions about these books?
Yeah.
Specifically?
I'm trying to think of what else. One thing I thought was really interesting in this book is that the trans woman in this book, she ended up marrying a man and having like a really happy family life, but you come to find out that she never told him that she was trans. And so then it kind of goes through that whole debate of should she have or shouldn't she have told him. And so because
like it shouldn't matter, really.
No, it shouldn't. It ends up coming out. Like it ends up where he, she does tell him.
Right.
And then, they kind of had that conversation about like, should she have or should she not have told him?
Right.
And so it was a really interesting, I can see both sides of it because like it really shouldn't matter, but then I can also see like feeling, not that you would care, but that you've been lied to. About someone's past.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that.
So I can kind of see both sides, but it was interesting to read about that because Jennifer Finney Boylan is a trans woman. And so it's interesting to read that from someone who knows what she's talking about.
When we read If I Was Your Girl, that was kind of similar where she chose not to tell anybody, which I mean, I feel like she wasn't necessarily obligated to tell anyone either. I mean, no one's obligated to tell anyone.
That's your business.
But like, she didn't tell anyone at her new school, but she also didn't tell the boy she was dating. She was dating.
Right.
But
like, are you?
And I mean, I could definitely understand not wanting to
absolutely
to tell anyone.
Yeah.
And because it shouldn't, like I said, it shouldn't matter. But people are shit. So
people are shallow. Yeah. People are shallow, prejudiced assholes. Because I was trying to think about it, like, obviously, I have no experience with this. So, like, I can't really speculate. Like, I would love to believe that if my husband told me, I was born a woman, I wouldn't care. And I don't think I would because I know him.
Yeah. I do think it's, like, different for women and men, though. I mean, again, it shouldn't be.
Right.
But I think that women are would be more willing to be okay with that.
Right.
And I think women are more open to like to like being bisexual and being like having a more fluid
sexuality. Right.
Whereas men, I think society sort of makes men feel like more like they have, even if maybe they aren't actually 100% straight. I think a lot of men would pretend they were.
Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, that was a really
more rigid.
A super interesting part of this book, and it wasn't until like toward the end that it kind of covered that. But
let's see. Oh, I went too far. Kate said, "Agreed." # Queen Octavia.
Queen Octavia. We need to start that hashtag.
Do that. Yeah. Mindy said, "Charcoal Joe is great too. The detective, Easy Rollins." I love detective names. They always have. Such weird names.
They're so
like
fun.
Darko Dawson. Also, okay, there's some. I don't remember what the book series is called, but the detective's name is Harry Hole. It cracks me up. And I don't think it's supposed to be funny. I don't know. I think they were originally written in like Swedish or some other language and translated. So I don't know if maybe like the name translates to or something. I don't know. But I'm like, why would you name your character Harry Hole? just makes me laugh every time. But anyway,
Harry Hole.
Detective Easy Rollins was a real stand-up guy. He was a good dad and put people in their place if they were womanizers. That's good.
That's nice.
See, there was a few times in this where Darko Dawson was like a little icky. I mean, he pretty much was a good guy, and he definitely like did not agree with this whole life of the gods things and like all that. But like there was a moment where he was like, there was two different women who, and he's married and has a child, and there was like two different women who he was like,
hey girl.
Yeah, that was just like, ugh.
There was a character, there was like a secondary character in this novel. It wasn't a main character, but who roofied a woman.
Oh, ooh. Terrell, a random question that has nothing to do with the book. Do you think the success of Black Panther will help open the door for Marvel and DC to do more superhero movies with POC in the near future?
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah. I haven't seen Black Panther yet. I'm behind on Marvel movies.
Yeah, I really want to see it, but I think it's really cool for people to see themselves represented in media, and it's really important, and I hope that it does open the door.
Yeah, I hope so. And I mean, it's doing really well, and people have, it's been received really well, so I think that it will.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Mindy, there was good social commentary. This is Charcoal Joe she's talking about.
Okay.
Because he gets hassled by cops just for going to a restaurant by his daughter's private school in a white neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah. Haley. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Haley.
So she would want to know if her partner was trans because it was a facet to who they were and how that formed who they became. That's a good point.
Yeah, and that's part of like kind of what's talked about in the book is like it's a part of you. It's a part of your past.
Yeah, because it would definitely, affect someone a lot. I think going through that and
definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I could see that for sure. Mindy says, "Haha, Harry Hole."
Yeah, Harry Hole is not the best character name I've ever heard.
I'm just like, what were they thinking? I mean, and like I said, the author didn't speak English as a first language, if they spoke it at all, and they wrote in a different language, so probably they didn't connect that.
The fact that that means
that's a funny
something
name.
Different entirely. Yeah. Harry Hole, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeesh.
And I can't remember what the novels were called. I saw Celia talking about them on her channel.
Okay.
And that was like Harry Hole.
Harry Hole.
Because I'm 5.
Yeah. Well, so am I. I am a 10-year-old boy. So. Let's see, what else about this? I don't want to give any spoilers, so I don't want to. I've been trying really, really hard, and it's always difficult for me not to give spoilers.
Yeah.
So
it sucks. And like trying to do book reviews, I feel like it's just, I don't know, it's really hard to talk about a book and say the things you want to say about it
without giving spoilers.
Which we always try to at least, tell people when we're going to say something spoilery.
Right. I have another book by Jennifer Finney Boylan, but it's a nonfiction book, and it's called She's Not There, A Life in Two Genders. And I think that it's about her experience, as a trans woman and being born male and transitioning. So after reading this, I am more excited to read that because I really liked her writing style, and it was very very witty and kind of biting kind of at sometimes. And so yeah, I'm excited to read this.
Yeah.
To read that.
And the writing style of this one, it was mostly good, but like sometimes the dialogue did not seem super realistic. Like it just seemed maybe too formal, but that could just be the culture, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be the culture, yeah.
So I don't know, but for the most part, it was well written, I thought. So nothing about it like bothered me terribly.
Yeah, I don't think that there was anything about this that I was like. There was a little bit. I guess there was like a little bit of like fat shaming. There's a character who I guess is a very large man, and it talks a lot about how he has a hard time believing that he's worthy of love. Which I guess is something that, it's a real feeling people have, but it does talk about him being big. And at some points, like it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of fat shamey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it's a little bit like...
Does it imply that he's not deserving of love?
Not really, but it does imply a little bit that he's not quite as attractive.
Yeah.
Like he was talking to his wife and he was like, oh, I'm fat. Why would anybody love me? And she was like, oh, well, I mean, you're a walrus, but I've never met anybody with a soul as beautiful as yours. So like,
yeah,
it talks about like, well, in spite of the fact that you're fat, I love
right.
you. So it was kind of a little bit,
Yeah. There was definitely a few characters in this book that were described as like they were, unlikable characters, and they were described as being like fat and gross. But there was also a woman who was described as being a large woman, and she was not a negative character. So, I guess I don't know if you could say there. There wasn't anything in here that was like that bothered me, So I thought it was fine. Circus of Damned. Wow, Sue, I love your hair. Thank you. I was saying earlier, we look like the Irish flag.
Yeah, because we're both super white.
We're white.
We have the green and the orange.
It is St. Patrick's Day soon.
Coming up, and I am drinking Guinness, so it's appropriate.
I'm drinking an American beer. Where is this from? New England, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in New England.
Which is actually where my book took place, was somewhere in New England, Pennsylvania.
DE is Delaware, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this took place in Philly, and then also like partially in Maine.
In West Philadelphia.
Born. Don't get me started, because I won't stop.
Mm-hmm.
So did anyone else read a book for this and want to tell us about it, or
have you read the book in the past that would
fit this challenge?
How
do y'all feel about mystery in general?
Yeah, because like we've said, we're very
iffy about
it's rare for me to read a mystery that I really like.
Same. I don't like figuring out. Like, I know you mentioned that you didn't really have a problem, like, if you figure it out before the end. I don't like that. Like, I want it to, like, surprise me.
Well, see, because for me, I think it's more like if you figure it out, then you have the anticipation of, like, are they going to figure it out?
Figure it out? Are they going to catch them?
Which, I mean, they probably are.
Right.
But still.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
When are they going to figure it out?
But yeah, this one, like, it kind of disclosed who it was. It wasn't, like, super late in the book. I'm trying to figure out where it was. It was about here. So maybe, like, is where it told you who it was.
Oh.
Yeah. And I really thought it was someone different. So when I read that, I was like, really?
Mindy grabbed herself a cider. Angry Orchard is her favorite. Yum.
Yum. When I went back to my hometown in Michigan, I learned that they recently started a cidery there. And so it was actually at the apple orchard where I had my first job ever.
Really?
Yeah, they started a cidery there. So I bought some hard apple cider for our friend who watches our house when we go out of town. Because she really likes hard cider. And yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
That's cool. I like cider, but I don't drink it a lot because if something's really sweet, it just like hurts my stomach sometimes.
Yeah, hard cider, I love the taste of it, but it hurts my tummy.
Yeah. I feel like I was gonna say something else and I forgot. Your dogs are saying some stuff outside.
My dog's got a lot to say, especially Sasha.
Oh, I was gonna say I used to read mysteries all the time when I was a kid. Like in middle school, I read the shit out of Mary Higgins Clark.
Me too. Yep.
But it definitely got to the point with Mary Higgins Clark. I feel like she's very formulaic.
Oh yeah,
and so it got the same. Yeah, after like I read 2 or 3 books by her, I could figure out who it was within the first couple chapters.
Right.
So I stopped reading her after a while because it just got boring.
Right.
But I still used to read mysteries some in high school, but I don't know. I think I'm just really picky about them.
I think I am too. Like, I think I'm really particular about them.
Yeah, because like that one that everyone on BookTube seems to love, the In the Woods by Tana French, or Into the Woods. I think it's In the Woods, which is kind of, I mean, it's still a mystery. It's a crime novel, whatever. I read that several years ago, and I didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, like everyone loves it so much, and I remember reading it and being like that was a waste of time.
Over it.
But
I owned it for a while because I bought it because I thought the cover looked cool.
it did have a cool cover.
And then I got it home and I looked at it and I was like, I don't know about this. I don't think I'm gonna like it. And I got rid of it.
Yeah, I don't want to say what the thing I hated about it most was, because then it would spoil
the whole thing,
the ending. But I really hated the ending. I'll just say that.
Just go there.
Yeah,
hated the ending.
So I think I don't think it was. A lot of people say they love the writing style, and I don't remember. I don't remember it well enough because it was several years ago that I read it to say anything about the writing style. But I just remember being pissed off at the end, like, God damn it!
You know what book really pissed me off? It's not a mystery. It was Under the Dome by Stephen King, because I feel like he really phoned in that ending. The entire book was so good, and it's so long, and I made it through the whole book, and I was invested in it, and I was like, yes, Stephen King. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Stephen King. And then I got to the ending, and I literally threw the book across the room because the ending was so goddamn stupid. It was such a fucking bullshit cop out ending. I was like, really? This is really Stephen King? Seriously? But I do kind of feel like he has a little bit of a tendency to phone in the endings.
Yeah. I haven't. I've still only read one Stephen King novel. And it ended fine, so. Haley says, Be Well Cidery in Michigan is so good. Nice. My friend and I took a road trip to that area last summer. They're from Minnesota.
Where is that? Be Well Cidery in Michigan. Because I'm planning a trip there to Michigan soon, in the summer, to see my niece, and maybe I'll stop by there. The cidery that I was in my hometown is in Gladwin, but nobody knows Gladwin, so it's a very small town.
Yeah, there's nothing fun in my hometown. Unless you like foxtrotters. Foxtrotters, which is a horse, by the way. My hometown is the foxtrotter capital of the world, I believe. Of the world? I believe so.
Oh.
That's its only claim to fame, I think.
I don't know that my hometown has a claim to fame. There's some fun things there, like the cidery, and
I want to Google
Gladwin History Museum
capital of the world to see if it comes up. Fox. I can't type. Trotter. Capital del Mundo. Because people come there. I had to work the Foxtrotter thing in the concession stand for NHS. Yep, Ava, Missouri, Foxtrotter capital of the world since 1959.
Since 1959.
There you go.
Wow. Yeah, Gladwin's not really known for anything. There's the Cedar River in Gladwin. Starts in Gladwin. But that's it. Yeah, there's a bunch of
Ava. It's outside of Ava, but near my house where I grew up is Glade Top Trail, which is a popular place people go to look at foliage.
Oh.
Yeah, in the fall, people just go down Glade Top Trail and look at the foliage.
Look at foliage.
The foliage.
The foliage. We had a invasion of zebra mussels in the Cedar River in Gladwin. So that's a thing. Mm-hmm. They're apparently a pretty invasive species, and they invaded the river. So we couldn't go in it, we couldn't swim in it or anything, because they're really sharp, so they will cut you. They're rude that way. And yeah.
Back when I was in high school, we had a water contamination issue.
Oh, someone pooped in the water tank?
No, there was some company that didn't dispose of their waste properly, and it seeped into the water.
So it's like an Aaron Brockovich kind of thing.
Yeah.
Bel Air, Michigan.
Okay. Be well in Bel Air.
Be well in Bel Air. Okay. I don't know what I've ever been to.
In West Philadelphia.
Born and raised.
Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Yeah, Fresh Prince of... that would have been a whole different show if it would have taken place in Bel Air, Michigan. Whole different show.
Anyway, anybody have anything else to say about
Their books?
Or mysteries in general, or books in general, or life
in general?
We should pick a new challenge.
We should. Do you want to do it from a bucket, or do you want to just like?
I don't know. Let's see. Does anyone have any preference for a challenge?
Clark Kent says, "Are you from Portland?" No.
We're from Springfield.
We live in Springfield, Missouri, and Sue is from Ava, Missouri, and I am from Gladwin, Michigan.
We put the spring in Springfield.
We put spring in Springfield.
Let's see. What's a good book or a good challenge we could do? That might spur some good conversation.
What about?
I don't know. Which one do you think? A book of social science?
Oh, that would be interesting. Let's do the book of social science.
Does that sound good to everyone? A book of social science?
A book of social science. And I already know what I'm going to read for that.
I think I had one. I have several books on my shelf that would count for that. There's also a brewery in Bel Air.
Nice. There's some pretty good breweries in Michigan. They make some...
aren't they like the beer state?
I don't know. I know they're the Great Lakes state. But
I thought they had like the most breweries. Oh, what's with my hair?
I didn't even notice.
They have like the most breweries of any other state, don't they?
I didn't know that. I don't know.
I could be wrong.
Let's see. I thought it was Colorado, but let's ask Google. So,
Mindy says a book of social science sounds good. Can you give some examples? Yes, we can. You're gonna read
I Am Not a Slut by Leora Tenenbaum, and it is about Tannenbaum. It's about slut shaming in the age of the internet.
I have a few books that I could choose from. I do own the book Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. So I might read that one. I'm leaning more towards White Trash, The 400-Year Untold History of Class in America by Nancy Eisenberg. So that's probably what I'm going to read, but we'll see how I feel. What else would count for social science? A lot of things, really.
You Are Not So Smart would be one.
You Are Not So Smart by, I can't remember the author's name. That one was pretty good, though. I mean, it's definitely like just touches shortly on a lot of things, so it doesn't go like super in depth to anything, but it was interesting.
I originally had planned to read Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari for this challenge, but then it turns out that Aziz Ansari is maybe not a great guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he is or isn't. Like I don't.
Yeah, that one was like a weird situation.
I don't really care one way or the other, but like if there's any doubt,
right?
Like I don't really want to read a book about.
I already read that book actually last year.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah.
I borrowed it from you because we were going to read it for Booktubeathon, I think. And I read it, and you didn't get to that one.
I didn't get to it.
And I thought it was okay. Like I would say that you're not missing that much.
Right. But yeah, like, I mean, if there's any doubt, then I don't want to read a book about modern day dating from a guy who, like, maybe got real weird with a lady.
Right.
Yeah.
Another one I thought about is From Here to Eternity, Traveling the World to Find the Good Death by Caitlin Doty. Or if you haven't read her first book,
Smoke Gets in Your Eyes.
Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. That one's really good. And I think that would definitely count as social science because it talks about
absolutely
like
about
death
and dying,
kind of,
definitely,
and grieving and how different cultures grieve, or how different cultures handle death.
Chasing the Scream was a good book, and it's about the opioid epidemic. Who wrote that?
I don't know.
Let me look.
Yeah, but really, I mean, there's tons of stuff there's tons of social science books, you know.
Let's see.
I was trying to think what else. I also have The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business by Charles Duhigg. That would be social science.
That would be.
Maybe I'll read that. I might read that because I've been meaning to read that for like a year now. So clearly I need to.
Clearly it's time. Chasing the Scream was written by Johann Hari. And that was really good.
Yeah, so there's some suggestions if you guys have any already, have a book planned for that. Let us know what you're gonna read.
Yeah, let us know.
This one's on my TBR. I don't own it though. The New Jim Crow: Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness.
That's on my TBR.
By Michelle Alexander.
Well.
That would definitely count.
Definitely.
Yeah, so Tom. This would probably count too. I do own that one. Life from Death Row by Mumaya Abu Jamal. That would probably count as social science. Yeah, so there's a lot.
So there's a lot of options there. Let us know what you guys plan to read. And that's what we'll do for next month. We'll do, let's plan the date.
Yeah, second week of April. Next month is April, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it would be Sunday the 8th.
Yes.
At 6
We'll have to remember that last time Sunday fell on the 1st, we fucked up.
We fucked that up.
Yeah. So it'll be April 8th.
April 8th at 6 p.m. Central Time.
Yes.
On the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes. Any last thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Anyone? Bueller?
Any words? Any last words?
Any last words? What you want on your tombstone? Remember those commercials?
What is their tombstone?
Pepperoni.
Oh my God, look at Murphy.
Tombstone pizzas are not good, by the way.
No, they are not. Yeah, real sad that.
Oh, we wouldn't let him on our lap.
So he just laid down.
Mindy says no one cares about crazy people. The chaos and heartbreak of mental health in America.
Oh, that would be a really good one.
A really good one and very relevant.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Yeah.
Anything else? Shall we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up.
Wrap her up.
So.
Oh, The Righteous Mind: Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion.
Oh, that'd be also really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also very relevant.
Very, very relevant.
Mm-hmm. Evicted: Poverty and Profit in the American City. There seems to be a lot of books about like class out right now, because I know Hillbilly Elegy is one that's been popular, which I've heard kind of mediocre reviews about that one, which is why I was planning to read White Trash instead.
Okay, that one's on my TBR.
Also,
Hillbilly Elegy.
David from the Poptimist just did a review of one that he said was similar to Hillbilly Elegy but better, and I wanted to read it, but it's called Things to Do When You're Goth in the Country and Other Stories by Shavisa Woods.
Interesting.
So I would like to read that. That's on my TBR too, but I don't know if I'll read it for this challenge.
Haley says she's been wanting to read Sex Object by Jessica Valenti.
I think I've heard of that.
I think I've heard of that too. Haley, have you heard of Living Dolls? I can't remember who it's by, but it's about the resurgence of sexism, which I don't know what it's talking about with resurgence, because I don't think it's ever really gone away.
Yeah.
But Living Dolls is on my TBR. It's like the return of sexism. Like, it'd have to go away before it could return. So.
Right. Mindy says she's going to choose between those three she mentioned.
Yes.
If I were going to choose one of those, I'd probably do the first one.
I probably would too. Yeah, if I was going to choose
me.
Any of those, I would choose No One Cares About Crazy People.
They all sound interesting.
They do.
And again, all very relevant.
Super relevant. But yeah, I would definitely pick the first one if I had to choose. But yeah, so next month we will talk about some social science books. We could get very topical.
Yeah. I have a feeling we're going to go on some rants next time, so tune in.
So tune in for some ranting.
Although, yeah, maybe I'll read White Trash instead of that Habit one, because I feel like White Trash will be more interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to do I'm Not a Slut, so.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Murphy wants to say hi.
So here's Murphy.
Here's Murphy. Say hi.
Hello. Can you wave your tiny little,
your little stubby paw?
stubby little paw. He's like, whatever, just hold me. I'm not here for waving. I'm here for pets. He's been whining, and then he like dramatically flopped onto the floor because I wouldn't pick him up. So
he just has to be the star. He has to sit his butt on me every time.
Yeah, and look over. He's looking out the window is what it is.
You're just using me.
Here, let's do that.
That's what it is.
What he does. Let's just see what he does.
Oh no, now you can't see.
Now what, bud? Now what, bud?
He's like, I get all the way up on the table.
And now I sit on the table. Ridiculous. All right, well, I guess we're going to call it a night. So there will be some links below where you can find us elsewhere on social media.
Will there with this?
I don't know. I think that those are like built in. I don't know. If you're not already subscribed to us, please do.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see you guys on the live stream next month on April 8th.
Yes, and if you think of any questions or comments that you forgot to mention, go ahead and tweet us or message us, whatever.
Can you comment on live videos after the fact? You can,
I think
right?
you can. Yeah, go ahead and comment, and yeah.
We're not so good with the...
We're bad at technology.
Yeah, technology is not our strong suit. Obviously. But anyway... yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
Bye.
We always have fun. Oh, okay.
Here, I got it.
I was trying to
How do I?
I don't know. I think you have to go back to the other one.